आज पता नहीं चलेगा, पहले दिन लगेगा कि बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है. Suddenly one day there is a problem for which you will not have a solution. This is exactly what happens to people.
Yeah.
Eventually, no doubt about it. But every fast path also has certain not negatives, but you have to be cautious. So you can drive any worship of Shiva or any form of Shakti or somebody belonging to their pantheon can be worshipped using either or Sphatika. For Vishnu, Baglamukhi, for example, one of the Mahavidyas, it is very good to use a mala made of something that is yellow or of.
If Tantra is a quick, even though difficult path, why haven't all sincere seekers chosen it over yogic sadhana or bhakti sadhana?
So, first of all, the whole reason why so many paths are given is because there are different tendencies in people. See, this is the beauty of dharma, the beauty of the rishis who propounded the various dharmas. So they knew that there are various methods of sadhana, there are various processes, and depending on which individual is capable of what, based on his inner propensities, on the things that he may have done in past lives, his actions, etc. There's a certain orientation he will have. So he chooses which path suits him. So because Tantra is a very fast path, and there is no doubt about it, but every fast path also has certain not negatives, but you have to be cautious. So you can drive your car very fast, but unless you're a very good driver, you may also make some mistake, and that can lead to an accident. So taking all these things into account, somebody who is fit for Tantra will always end up in Tantra. And those who are not fit for it, or those who do not have a liking for it, there are a lot of people who are there who may not like this. They may like something else. They may like doing Upasana in the Bhakti mode or some other system. So they'll go to that. I mean, this is why there is a democracy of paths given.
Regarding Nam Japa, for maintaining counts, which mala should be used for different forms of Shakti, Shiva, Vishnu, and his avatars, Ganpati and Surya? Can Rudraksh mala be used for all, or is there any specific protocol to be followed? I'll just add a sort of additional question. I think this is the Panch Mahadevatas who are being spoken about here, and I have a slightly connected question. Isn't Skanda worship also, or Skanda considered also part of the five main deities, the major deities? So maybe connected, but
yeah, definitely. Skanda is, in fact, at one point his worship was very popular across India. Now it is confined to the south, but definitely is one of the major deities. And not just the five major, but the concept of the five deities comes specifically from Advaita tradition. There are other traditions also. Yes, definitely, Skanda is one of the major deities among Hindus. And regarding the question of malas, on an average, any worship of Shiva or any form of Shakti or somebody belonging to their pantheon can be worshipped using either Rudraksha or Sphatika. For Vishnu, there are various other malas. Tulsi malas are there, and different other things. But this is the basic concept. Malas can also be changed depending on, there are certain specific mantras of Shakti which will work very well with certain other kinds of mala. For example, if you are worshipping Baglamukhi, for example, one of the Mahavidyas, it is very good to use a mala made of haldi, something that is yellow, or even of yellow hakik, etc. There are certain prayogs, certain sadhanas of certain forms of chandi which work very well if you use a mala made of red coral. So like that. So these are, as a basic rule, yes, Rudraksha malas are very good for most Shiva, any Shiva related form, any Shakti related form. Sphatik mala is also very good. But if there's a specific sadhana you want to do, it is always best to check with your guru.
So we could actually get into worship of maybe some form of Devi to actually solve problems, say in our country, for example, or to set a right direction for our country. If many of us would do it, or how would that work? Because we did talk about this in the context of that. If you want to talk about Brahman finally, then that has no. You said that there's no interest in whether you survive or not.
Yes.
Correct, as Hindus, for example. So as a corollary, if we want that to happen, then perhaps that could be done by accessing Devi worship.
In theory, yes. In practice, the difficulty is that you have to be of that caliber. You find people of that caliber. See, it's like that. What I talked about, why the gradation of adhikaras is based. So what can be achieved by a very high caliber upasaka, even 15 to 20 high caliber upasakas. 1,000 average caliber upasakas will not be able to get it. Where do you find those 15 high caliber upasakas? It is not that simple कि आज चालू किया कल से जाके हम कुछ कर देंगे सब दुनिया बदल जाएगा. If that were that simple, then the world would have changed by now. So and obviously there's a lot of political aspects involved in this and that, but purely from the sadhak's point of view, let's put it this way, that sadhana is not at all easy. It requires a tremendous amount of sacrifice. It sounds very nice from the outside. The moment you enter, as you go deeper, you have to keep sacrificing things from your material life. Sacrifice is the key word for progress in sadhana. Without sacrifice, you cannot go. And sacrifice is not just internal sacrifice of your circumstances, of things, various, etc. Only then you are at a position where you can say, okay, I will do this ritual and this deity will come and help me out. And not just me, it will help all my people, etc. So the first step is perhaps to create good quality upasakas. That itself is a difficult thing, in my view.
Could we pick up any mantra? You also said that mantras only work when, especially in Shakti Tantra, when you're initiated. But could I pick up a mantra, or even in, for example, when you're doing meditation on chakras, there are supposed to be deities and mantras or syllables, Beej mantras associated with them. Could you pick up those and do it? Would they benefit, or would they become a hindrance because you're not initiated?
In my view, Beej mantras should not be picked up randomly. Okay, unless you are very sure what you're doing and you have somebody to guide you properly. Point number one. Point number two is that if you want to chant something, so the name of a deity does not require initiation, which means suppose you want to say, just chant the name of Shiva. Okay, Om Namah Shiva, for example.
But say Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali. That's available in our daily
that one. No. You have to understand that. What is available in small prayer books, etc., leave it aside. I am talking only about what is authentically accepted. And why I am saying this is because, as I mentioned just to the previous answer, the closer you stick to the tradition, safer you are. आज पता नहीं चलेगा, पहले दिन लगेगा कि बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है. Suddenly one day there is a problem for which you will not have a solution. This is exactly what happens to people eventually. Because your goal is long term. Your goal is not कि I feel good 2 days and 3 days. You want to become to that suprahuman state. Okay, that is the aim of sadhana. So there are certain mantras which can be chanted and doesn't require any initiation. For example, Nama mantra of a deity.
How do we know? For example, in my temple, I have a book of all the upasanas that you have to do, from Hanuman Chalisa to everything, and there is Om Jayanti Mangala Kali over there, or Om Bhrim. So I don't know whether I should do it or not do it.
No, I am not. This is a generic conversation. First of all, I'm not saying anybody you do this or you don't do this. That is up to your conscience. That is up to you or the advisors who may advise you, etc., whom you look up to, etc. So this is, I am giving a broad general knowledge of how ideally it should be.
Sure.
About that sloka, Jayanti Mangala Kali, this is specifically mentioned that this particular sloka can be chanted without initiation. So anybody can chant this one. Okay. In fact, it recommends that for a person who is during Navratri period specifically, if he doesn't know anything else, they can keep chanting this as much as possible, which means that you can sit at hours and hours and do chanting of this. This is allowed. Provided, of course, there's a basic criteria you have to determine. Say you are a person who doesn't feel any connection to Kali, you feel a connection to some other form, etc. Then to such an individual, if you give this mantra, it may not produce a result, or it may produce a counterproductive. It may turn counterproductive. So that basic idea has to be there. Okay, so you like Krishna, so you pick up something from that is more suitable and that is allowed to be chanted without initiation pertaining to that deity. But when it comes to Beej mantras and other things, it is best to take advice. Why? That is because for some people, yes, there may be 10-15 cases where, first of all, most people chant very casually, which means that they chant, say, 5 times, 10 times. They do not do it in the method of doing an upasana. Now, same thing if you do it in the form of doing an upasana, say for half an hour or something every day, and so many malas and all that, then the character of the mantra will change. It will start interacting with it. Question is, can you handle that interaction? The methods, the rules are given only because it takes into account every possibility, that there is all safeguards are put into place. So that is why. If you violate that safeguard, and you just randomly keep picking a mantra and keep doing that on your own in the proper manner, in which is, in the systematic manner, for example, and then tomorrow a reaction of that mantra comes, then the question is, how will you be able to handle it? That is what the question is. That's what the trick is. So that is why, in my opinion, it is best to take a at least not even initiation, at least what is called Upadesham of a mantra before doing it.